Go Sports app now for $3,749 plus GCT per month. Visit a store today and join Jamaica's largest network. Promotional offer ends December 31, 2020. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news, U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica Donald Tapia says the Jamaican government is well aware of concerns raised by the U.S. over the prospects of using a Chinese firm to build out a 5G network in Jamaica. According to media reports, the U.S. has declared that engaging China or a Chinese firm to implement 5G technology could pose several risks to the island, particularly to the financial sector. It says the ambassador has warned that the U.S. has national security concerns with 5G technology developed by Chinese companies such as Huawei and ZTE. Stephen Simmons reports.
The U.S. Ambassador Donald Tapia says his country isn't threatening Jamaica, but he told Nationwide News this afternoon that there are consequences for utilizing the services of such Chinese companies.
The first thing I want to tell you, the U.S. does not ever threaten a country. This is a sovereign nation. And I want to make that perfectly clear. This is a sovereign nation with a sovereign government. We are working with the government of Jamaica on the 5G. There are certain things that there's consequences behind it. The same as you notice that the Chinese Communist Party here, or the embassy here, always threaten, well, there's consequences coming. There's consequences coming. But they never spell out the consequences. There are consequences when you're going to a worldwide network. And I suggested the first thing that you might look at is look at Sweden. What the Sweden Prime Minister said just last week about the Communist Chinese network.
Mr. Tapia is insisting that lawsuits have been filed against the Chinese companies for alleged data breaches.
They also said that they've never been sued. You better go and look at that. They've been sued in federal court, and there's suits right now in federal court against Huawei and ZTE.
The U.S. ambassador says the Jamaican government has been alerted to the concerns of the U.S.
Any conversation that I have with the foreign minister is a private conversation between the foreign minister and myself. I said that the Jamaican government is well aware of our concerns, period.
Stephen Simmons for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
The World in a Minute.
Thousands of people have blocked roads across Poland on the fifth consecutive day of protest against the court's near-total ban on abortion. In the capital, Warsaw, protesters blocked the main intersections, stopping cars and trams for about an hour. Some carried placards with slogans like, quote, "I wish I could abort my government," end quote. The protests are considered unusual in a country where the Roman Catholic Church has great influence. They follow a ruling by Poland's constitutional court that ending the life of a deformed fetus is unconstitutional. There were blockades in about 50 cities across the country today. The previous day, protesters disrupted church services and graffiti was sprayed on the walls of Warsaw churches.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says Jamaica can afford to respond to certain economic shocks without resorting to borrowing.
Local government and rural development minister says the country is facing a huge repair bill after the heavy rains at the weekend.
Meanwhile, the National Works Agency, NWA, says efforts continue to clear several roadways across the country.
U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica says the Holness administration is well aware of concerns raised by the U.S. over the prospects of using a Chinese firm to build out a 5G network in Jamaica.
I'm Tyrone Reed.
And I'm Marjorie Gordon.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next at 6.